Jen, is there anybody in the waiting room still?
No, just one more board member who's coming in.
All set when you guys are.
All right.
All right. Thank you. This is my name is Mike Gagan. I'm the vice chairman of the planning board. I will be filling in for Wally Baker as running the meeting tonight. Wally did have surgery last week and asked me to fill in running the meeting tonight. Wally is participating here as a board member as well. So we'll begin by me reading a statement regarding remotely conducted open meetings, Sutton Planning Board. Good evening. This open meeting of the Sutton Planning Board is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. While still ensuring public access, this order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. You can find the order posted on the town's website. Regardless of our inability to meet in person, it is our intent to ensure continued transparency and the ability of the public to at least view the actions of our board. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. Tonight's public meeting may feature public comment. For this meeting, the Sutton Planning Board is convening by Zoom teleconference as specified on a legally posted agenda. Please note that this meeting is being recorded. Accordingly, please be aware that others may be able to see you, and you can take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by this recording. The first agenda item on tonight's meeting, again, which is November 16th, 2020, at 7 p.m., is a continuation of a public hearing for 192 Worcester Providence Turnpike. In the last few weeks, we have received a notice from them to withdraw their motion. I'd like to just read the motion quickly. It's from Robert Murphy and Associates. Dear Jennifer, as a representative for James Fitzpatrick, this office is formally withdrawing without prejudice all current applications relative to the proposed redevelopment of property located at 190 and 192 Worcester Providence Turnpike, Sutton, Massachusetts. The purpose of this request is to allow the owner applicant additional time to review all of the circumstances relative to the current federal, state, and local regulations governing the development of land adjacent to Cold Spring Brook. Respectfully submitted, Robert G. Murphy, Project Manager. We'll be closing that. I'm going to have a motion to close that public meeting.
This is Bob Vargas. I'll make a motion that we.
Wait.
Yeah.
First, we need a motion to allow that withdrawal
Okay.
without prejudice and then close the hearing.
I'll make that
Okay.
motion.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Kyle? That was the second, Kyle?
Okay, we'll have a roll call, a yay and nay. Wally Baker,
Aye, excuse me.
Scott Paul,
Aye.
Aye.
Kyle Bergeron.
Kyle Bergeron, aye.
Sorry, Bill. Robert Lodges
Aye.
and Mike Gagan, aye. 5-0-0. Now we can have a motion to close this hearing.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
I'll second. Yep.
Okay. Again, Wally Baker,
aye.
Scott Paul,
Aye.
Kyle Burgesson,
Kyle Bergeson, aye.
Kyle, Bill, Robert Lodges,
Aye.
and Mike Gagan, aye. Motion closes 5-0-0.
Perfect.
Moving on to the second meeting we have tonight, again scheduled for 7 o'clock, is 19 Oakhurst Road, a site plan review for Eversource Energy natural gas gate station. Do we have anybody from the project team attending that would like to speak on any updates?
Yes, good evening. This is Samuel Ijeoma Eversource, and I have other team members with me, including Jen Botaro with Eversource. We also have Tricia Foster at this meeting, and finally we have Brendan Kearns tonight as well.
Okay. Samuel, do you or anybody there have anything to update the board from the last meeting a few weeks ago?
Yes,
Oh.
I think Tricia is will give us an update on the topics that have come up.
Sure. Hi, good evening, everyone. Like Samuel said, my name is Trisha Foster, and I'm with Epsilon Associates. We do have a few updates since we last met on November 2nd. The updates are in response to comments we previously received from Jennifer Hager as well as Graves Engineering. I'll give you the high level of those updates, and then if you have any questions, happy to get into any details you may be interested in. So one of the comments was to add some detail relative to the permanent signage for the facility. So the updated site plans do include the permanent signage that's proposed. It's a total of 8 potential signs that would be located on the personnel gates as well as the double swing gates with a maximum height not to exceed of 6 feet. We did add the deed information to the plan set, and that accounts for the A&R that was recently filed with the planning board and approved. We added the dimensional requirements for both the town of Sutton and the town of Northbridge. As you may recall, this parcel spans both in the town of Sutton and the town of Northbridge. But just a reminder that all work will be in Sutton. There's no work proposed in the town of Northbridge. We added the height of the roof and the vent cap to the project plans, and we added a new plan sheet with the exterior colors. And finally, we updated the stormwater report based on comments received from Graves Engineering. And based on Graves Engineering's latest response, we've satisfied all of their comments and they don't have any further concerns.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Good job.
Is there anyone else would like to speak, or you?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I'd like to ask Samuel, we are asking for construction hours that are 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Saturday. We don't anticipate any Sunday work. However, there may be times when Sunday work may be required. So if I could turn it back over to Samuel Ijeoma, he can provide you with the detail behind that request.
All right. Thank you, Trish. Thank you, Michael. Just like Trish mentioned, we are requesting an extension of the construction working hours to 7 p.m. from Monday through Saturday. We don't anticipate any Sunday work, but if the town decides to, provide us some mechanism to be able to request for Sunday work, we would certainly take advantage of that. So the reason we are requesting an extension of the construction working hours is to allow us to complete this project by November of next year. Currently, we have a similar project that is ongoing in Westwood. The planning board allowed construction hours between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. And even with that available construction window, we are just getting ready to commission the station. Commissioning is expected to happen sometime next month. So what I'm trying to say is I'm afraid that without the extended construction hours and days, we might run the risk of extending the project completion date to sometime, around December 2021. So, which is why I think it would be a good idea for us to request that the town consider, allowing extended construction hours for this project. And I also want to mention that as a team, we're certainly aware of the need to maintain reasonable quiet and comfort of the neighborhood. And I'd like to assure you that if you decide to approve these extended construction hours with any agreed upon conditions, we'll be sure to comply with those conditions. So that is all I have right now. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Is there anyone else on the line from the public that would like to make any comments? Jen, I don't know if you can tell if there's anybody.
I don't see anybody unmuting. You need to unmute yourself if you're out there. I don't see anybody raising their hand. Kyle, do you see anybody? I don't see anybody.
Okay.
You can still speak up at any time. We'll give that one more chance before we decide we're going to wrap up things, but I don't see any public comment right this minute.
Okay, thank you, Jen. Any board members with any comments?
Mike, Bob Largest, I guess for other board members, we're usually, construction usually ends at 5 o'clock. And I want the project to move forward and be in a timely calendar. As a planning board, should we be some way for residents, for someone that has a problem between 5 and 7 p.m. to make contact with us or with the people that are doing the construction? I want it to go smoothly. I've just never seen it going that late. 7 o'clock is, we have trouble to start too soon, and we hear from the neighbors, but I haven't heard about anyone ever complaining because they're going past 5 o'clock on a construction project. So it'd be a first for us, and we should have some way that residents could make contact to someone, because we're giving them permission to go 2 extra hours every day, 6 days a week, not 5 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
well, the advantage we have with this site is that unlike some of our other sites, it's not directly up against the neighborhood. It's
Right.
separated by the closest neighborhood by those 2 solar projects, phase 1 and phase 2.
So it's unlike-
So there is a little bit of distance, but I agree, Bob. Perhaps when we're placing the hours of construction, we should, make it clear to the applicant that, we'll allow those hours unless there's an issue that can't be mitigated, perhaps.
Right. Agreed. I could agree to that.
And there's certain parts of the project that will be quieter than other things. They can schedule their construction and work and noise to the right between 9 and 5 if they can. But if they have to stay after, it shouldn't be the busiest, noisiest part of the project, taking those 2 hours. And I want to be supportive of this to move forward and get it off our agenda, and so they can get started tomorrow. So they'll be done a year from now. That's all.
Okay, thanks, Bob. Anyone else with any comments?
I think it's worthy to bring up the email from Nick Nunemacher
Mhm.
concerning the fire that occurred here some time ago at this site or nearby. And, I heard and asked about questions about fire suppression systems and such like that, and was assured that automatic this and automatic that, no gas ever catches on fire in these things. Well, that's not what happened some time ago, and our fire department had a hard time putting this fire out. About 5 acres burned up, and valves could not be shut off for quite a period of time. So that's of concern.
Now, I'm not sure if the project, if that was part of Nick's official comments or if that was a follow-up email. Do you guys recall?
I'm reading it. Came in Saturday, this Saturday came in.
Oh, did he send it directly to you?
Yeah, he sent it to
Yeah.
everybody.
I
Yeah.
see.
All right, then. Maybe, did I get that? Let me see.
Tennessee, so it's right at this right away, Tennessee Gas, a number of years ago, the gas caught fire, very large, noisy, vertical flame, 50 feet high, melted the pavement, burned up 5 acres. And the gas personnel being on site, it took several hours to shut off the gas to the flames. So I didn't hear any concern when we brought this up last time that this kind of thing could ever happen. And we haven't even talked about the take station that's going to be set up on the Tennessee gas pipe. So
Hmm.
this is only a secondary building to the main takeoff, the high pressure. This stuff, what's the pressure in that pipe? Do you guys know?
Yeah, we're catching the team cold here, and I'm trying to find that email so I can share it to the screen, but I don't see it. Let me just see.
Send it back to you.
He had just about everybody listed on that.
Yeah, you're on here.
Yeah.
It was sent on Saturday, 11/14.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find it.
Here, I'll send it back.
Neil,
to
do you know the pressure of the gas?
Yeah, so I can share that with the team. So if you need to know, so the Tennessee system has a maximum pressure of about 902 psi.
Oh, I see it. Here, I'm going to share it.
And the Eversource system, we have a much lower pressure.
Right. So the concern is the high pressure side of the site, which has
Okay.
has
So
not
you-
been.
Can
has
you
not
see
been-
that now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We-
All right, so it's this portion of the email that's the concern. And I believe this was on the line itself, along the line. New England Power Company is a small fenced area with various metal gas pipeline fixtures of Tennessee Gas a number of years ago. Maintenance session. Can you see that, team?
Yes, Jen, I'm seeing it.
Now, obviously, the fire department reviewed this whole application and did not have any concerns with the gate station. They did have a discussion with Grafton Fire, which is your closest gate station, and still did not have a concern with the gate station. I think that's different than what Nikki's talking about here, but I'm not a gas expert, so I'll let the team handle that.
Okay, I guess if the concern is with the Tennessee system, they could. I mean, they're yet to come in for their permitting. One thing, in my opinion, they could certainly do is they could have, remotely operated valves, just like we're gonna have. These valves, they give you the ability to shut off gas remotely if you have any overpressure situation or if you have any fire emergency. I expect them to install similar valves in their system like we're gonna have on the Eversource side.
So Samuel, what I'm hearing you say is this had nothing to do with Eversource. This was on the Tennessee Gas pipeline. You have no knowledge of this because it's not your line. And
Correct.
you can't really guess what happened here.
Correct. So this is not our system. I have no firsthand knowledge of, what happened. But we've made all the provisions that we can in our design to mitigate against anything like this, and we feel confident nothing like this is going to happen on our system.
That's why they call them accidents, Nobody plans this kind of stuff.
But there is a valve, and I'm not at all technical, but there is a way to turn the gas off, like your the grill on my back porch. There's a way to just turn it off.
Remotely, correct? Yes.
Yeah.
So,
That's-
as part of this hearing process, or do we now hear from Tennessee Gas? Is that the next public hearing?
Yes, they're going to have their own public hearing
And when will that happen?
as soon as they're ready to file. I don't know yet. I haven't heard from them directly yet.
So Eversource is going to build a system to take lower pressure gas from a main and they have no permit or they have no permission to build that tap at this time. Right?
I would assume Eversource wouldn't build anything until everything's settled with Tennessee Gas Pipeline. That'd be a big fat waste of money.
I guess that's my point.
Yes.
So I have a question. First of all, what is the N-Star gas PSI? If the Tennessee gas is 900 PSI, what are the N-Star gas lines at?
60 psi. So we take gas from Tennessee. We take gas from them at 900 psi or less. Then we cut it down to 60 psi.
Okay, and then what does shutting off the gas pipeline remotely mean? Does that mean there's a valve 100 yards away that you physically turn? Or did someone flick a switch in Ohio and they can shut a valve off someplace else?
Correct. So we have a control center. One is located in Southborough. So if we have an emergency, if for any reason there's an emergency, someone pushes a button and a valve closes. So what does that mean? If you have fire and the fire is being fueled by natural gas and you close the valve, it means you've basically isolated the source and the fire is going to go out.
And I assume there's some manual backup system. You can run to the next, corner and shut the valve off that way also, taking a guess.
That is correct. We have manual, then we have automatic.
Because an automatic system must have a wire set. So if the wire burns up in the fire, you can't control the valve anymore, right?
Well, yeah.
So
The next one down the road.
Sorry.
I don't know if you could lose power and the backup generator doesn't work. So
Sounds like Fukushima.
The closest station in Grafton, how long has that been there? And have you had any issues over there?
We haven't had any issues with the station we have in Grafton. I mean, just like we've safely operated that station over the years. I believe it's been there for maybe more than 40 years. We intend to use similar practices here. We're gonna operate safely and responsibly when we construct this new station in Sutton.
Same thing with Worcester, no issues in Worcester?
Yes, and just like, I don't know if we mentioned this at the other meeting, we have close to 20 of these all over Massachusetts, and we've not had any issues because of the way we operate our system and the way we build them also.
I'd be remiss without asking, when and where was the last issue?
I can only speak about my company. I know we have very solid safety records. Other people probably know more about other systems, but yeah, my knowledge is solid on the Eversource system.
So I do some work in the gas industry, and I would say this kind of thing is relatively few and far between. But when it happens, and that's the point of Nick's comment here, that's 900 pounds. Some of these lines are running at 1,800 pounds, bigger pipes, 3-foot diameter pipes full of 1,800 pound gas. It's a big problem. It burns down towns and everything else. But that's probably not, that's pretty remote stuff. For all the 300,000 miles of gas pipe in the ground or whatever it is, it's pretty remote. So I mean, don't take me wrong. I support this project, but I think these concerns are real, and whatever systems can be put in place to minimize and better yet eliminate these problems, both from your take station and Tennessee Gas, is important. You got high pressure on one side and low pressure on the other in your setup. So we just don't want to see anything happen. That's all.
Noted.
And Can I ask Jen, what are these standard practices that you have as far as the hours of operation of construction for a commercial project?
I mean, usually when you have a commercial or industrial project, particularly that's adjacent to a residential neighborhood, this does have a little bit of a separation between them and the nearest home. We go 7 to 5, Monday through Friday. Saturday, we usually go 8 to 12. And Sunday,
was-
no Sundays, no holidays. That's the typical.
Is that in the bylaws? Is that in?
No, it's not.
the
It
rules
should
and
be
reg-
probably, but it's not. So that's just been our normal practice.
And there are some houses on the other side of the photovoltaic field,
Yes, there are. Down the street, there are.
right, and around the corner and across the,
Yeah,
Is
the house across the street is owned by the people that sold Eversource and the solar panels this land. So
so they don't get no complaints from them.
no complaints
Probably
can come
not.
from
And if they do, tough nuggies.
there.
It's just important as we move forward, and I want to support this project, and I appreciate Nick sending that email, and Scott, you're more familiar with the industry than I am. But I'm just happy that we have it on the record that between
Exactly.
5 and 7, that's most unusual. And I don't want anyone from this project coming surprised if anyone comes back to us, to the town, about what's going on between those hours. We'll have to do something. Work faster between 9 and 5, I guess, if that's possible. But if it can happen between 9 and 7 in the neighborhood,
7 and
is
7, you
that
mean?
with it, then it's fine with me.
All right.
Jen, do you have anything else to add here?
I do not. My comments have all been addressed with some minor plan changes. And
Okay.
as noted, Graves Engineering is satisfied with the response to comments. So I did email you guys. The chairman can kind of go over where we are now in terms of process wise, and then we, depending on what you guys want to do, we can go from there.
So
Or the acting chairman, I should say.
acting keyword.
And doing a good job.
So we're at a point where we have 3 decisions that the board can make. We can approve it. We can approve it with conditions, or we can deny the request. As Jen has mentioned, she did come with minimal conditions of approval that I think was mailed to everybody, hopefully this afternoon. Jen, is this the point where we would read through those?
Yeah, so you got to decide as a board whether you think you're ready to proceed. And if you want to proceed with an approval with conditions, then I will be happy to share those minimum conditions to the screen and we can go through those.
Well, to move the process, I'd like to make a motion that we move on this with the adjustments.
Okay, hold on. Let me get the minimum conditions up. Okay, hold on. It's the first time I'm sharing from my screen. So you'll have to be patient with me, please.
Did we
Sharing.
bang out all the waivers?
Yeah, that's what I think all the waivers are done, right? We didn't have any more
Thought so.
waivers on?
Thought we did them all.
We did. It was
Really?
just one waiver.
Excuse me?
It was just the one waiver to the off-street loading.
Which we did vote on last 2 weeks ago.
Okay,
You did that.
in the, not the OLI district, the 146 overlay was not applicable, okay.
All right. So you have on the screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So-
What my recommended minimum conditions of approval, obviously you would want to adjust number 2 a little bit to basically say you'll allow those hours, but unless an issue that they can't mitigate comes up, and maybe you even want to go kind of where Bob went with And you want to, the applicant needs to work as much as possible during the normal construction hours of 7 to 5 on weekdays and 8 to 12 on weekends to keep the noisier stuff in those hours as much as possible.
And do we need to read through each one of these conditions, I assume?
I mean, I would read through them just for anybody who's listening on the phone as opposed to viewing.
Do
Sorry.
we have a volunteer on the board to read through this list?
I'll read them.
Thank you.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the Eversource Oakhurst Road application for a gas take station with the following conditions. Number one, approval of all other applicable local, state, and federal permitting authorities. Number two, construction on this site should be limited to Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Saturdays, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Sundays from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. with the quiet construction activities to be performed in off hours. If there's complaints in the future, the board reserves the right to adjust those hours. Number three, the board reserves the right to review site landscaping within a year of installation for the purpose of adding plants which may be reasonably necessary to complete the intended aesthetics and screening. Number four, the board reserves the right to review and adjust lighting and require adjustments within a year of initial illumination if they find it to be a danger or nuisance. Number five, the board reserves the right to require mitigation for noise generated by operations on this site if they find it to be a nuisance. Prior to endorsement of plans, all waivers and conditions of approval shall be listed on the plan set. Prior to commencement of construction, the applicant engineer shall submit 4 complete prints of the endorsed site development plan, 1 50% reduced print, and 1 electronic copy to the Sutton Planning Office. Number 8, prior to commencement of construction, a pre-construction meeting shall be held. Number 9, with the planning board director and other town staff as appropriate, the town's consulting engineer, the applicant and/or his representative, the applicant's engineer, and the applicant's construction supervisor for this site, period. Minutes shall be drafted by the town's consulting engineer and provided to the parties in attendance within 48 hours for approval prior to construction start to ensure all parties are in agreement. Number 10, prior to commencement of construction, the applicant will provide a minimum of 1 week's notice and review staked limits of clearing with the planning board representative. Prior to startup of the facility, any building security system shall be installed and functioning as required by the police and fire chiefs. Number 12, the applicant shall submit to the planning board an as-built plan and written certification from the project engineer that the entire site has been constructed substantially in accordance with the site plan. Number 13, the applicant shall also submit to the Board of Assessors the as-built plan supplemented with any additional information required by this board. Number 14, the applicant shall ensure proper maintenance of plantings on the site, including immediate replacement of dead or diseased plantings unless it is winter or summer, in which case immediately in the following planting season. And last but not least, number 15, inspection and maintenance of the site drainage system and structures shall be performed in accordance with the recommended schedule, but in no case less than once per year.
Can we adjust number 11 just a little bit?
I was gonna say, that's,
Any building security systems and fire protection measures shall be installed and functioning as required by the police and fire chiefs.
there you go.
Sounds
Is
good.
that, Scott?
Oh, that, in fact, we could elaborate more potentially, but I would agree with that change, certainly.
And Scott, did you mean to allow construction on Sundays also?
Well, I thought that was part of the discussion, but if I need to amend that, I certainly will. Was Sunday off the list?
Yeah, Sunday's off the list.
Then I revised my number 2 condition to exclude Sunday.
I
So
second,
7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Saturday.
Yes, with the reservation that if there's problems with that, that we reserve the right to those hours.
All right, so that was the full motion.
I heard a second.
Who was the second?
William Talcott.
You
Call
can't
for a
be the
vote.
second. You're not a voting member right now.
I'll be a second.
No, I thought I was on the, last week when we had this.
Oh, Wally, are you,
No, because Kyle.
are you
No.
just,
Bill was here last week. Kyle was not.
Right.
I'll
Yeah,
sit
but-
off.
huh?
I can sit off this one.
Okay,
Yes,
I'll
Kyle.
step down in
All right,
favor.
thanks, Bill. So Bill, you're the second?
Oh, okay, yep.
Call for a
Okay, so
vote.
we have a motion in front of us with conditions. We'd like to call for a board vote. Wally,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Bill,
I,
Bob,
Aye.
and Mike, aye. 5-0-0, the motion passes.
Awesome.
The motion to close the hearing?
Okay, a second.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Again, we'll have a vote. Wally,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Bill,
I,
Bob.
Aye.
And Mike Gagan, aye. Motion passes to close the hearing, 5-0-0. Thank you, and thank you for everyone that called in. We look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Night.
All right. Guys, feel free to remind me now when I leave stuff up on the screen like that too long.
We're going
All right.
to,
I'm assuming. Bill
Mr. Chairman, so are we gonna leave Bill in as the full acting member on this hearing as well?
Yep.
I'll step off for this one as well, Jen.
Okay,
okay, thank you, Kyle, sorry. We should have clarified that before.
awesome.
all right, the next item on the agenda is 7:15 Planning Board. Is a continuation of the hearing for 161 Armsbury Road, C-Tech Solar LLC, site plan review, special permits, large-scale solar photovoltaic and common driveway. Is there anyone here from the project team on this project that would like to give any update?
Yeah, sure. Good evening, everybody. This is Brad Parsons with All Points Technology Corporation, here on behalf of CTEC. A couple updates for the board. The common driveway application was signed by the adjoining property owner, and that was submitted to the planning office. Additionally, we did send in plans on Friday along with response to comments on the Graves engineering comments. We were able to, I believe, address those. They probably haven't had a chance to confirm that they were all been addressed to their satisfaction, but I think we didn't have any concerns with any of the comments. So I believe that those were all addressed. One of the couple of things that they asked for were the erosion control on contour interior to the site. That was something that we added to these plans. The other item of note in two ways is the fence. We did actually confirm that the fence will need to be 7 feet. Originally, the plan said 6 feet. But due to the electrical code, it will actually need to be 7 feet. And we have changed or made it clear on the plans that the fence will be black vinyl coated, and we have added privacy slats along the north and west sides along Atlas Box, and just right along the kind of turning along the north side and stopping it where our landscaping stopped for screening. Those are pretty the main changes there. I think some of the other things were minor comments on their side. The last piece that did come up at the last meeting was the open space requirement. We also added that to the plans. There's over 5 acres of open space outside of the fence. I know that was a discussion. So we are not counting anything inside the fence facility or any of the roads or the driveway rather leading up to it. And we ended up at almost at 45% open space coverage on the site as well.
Well done.
Thank you, Brad. Yeah. Is there anyone that is on the line here from the public that would like to make any comments? Please raise your hand or let Jen know that you're there.
You can unmute yourself, and I don't see any movement. All right, I'm not seeing anybody. You can just yell out if you need to.
Okay, thank you, Jen. Any board members have any comments or thoughts at this time?
Looks like everything that we asked for last week, we now have. I'm ready to move forward.
Well, we have one thing I need to talk about. It's question number 8. Graves had commented that the electrical equipment pads, excuse me, will be separated from the access driveway by a 2-to-1 slope and therefore will not be readily accessible. If not already done, the planning board may wish to solicit input from the fire department concerning emergency access to the equipment pads. The fire department obviously reviewed these plans. I don't know how much they looked at the slope between the roadway and these equipment pads. I certainly can't tell you that. And again, as Brad noted, we didn't get these comments back until Friday. So I wasn't able to talk to the fire department today about this. And we don't have Graves's response comments to these comments back yet either. That being said, I don't see any big concerns with any of these responses or these issues that Graves brought up anyways, but
I think I could
but
say,
but that is an outstanding comment.
sorry, you're right. And I could say that we have no problem if it is required to relocate those pads further back in towards the end of the driveway. I don't think that is a main concern. On our part, we could make that change. It was just trying to get closer to the actual electrical interconnection.
All right. Yeah, I mean, if you can adjust those, if the fire department actually has some kind of concern that they didn't notice in their first plan review, I'd say there's very little running through their response to comments. They've pretty much just made the adjustments that Graves Engineering wanted. I did talk to Jeff Walsh later at 6 o'clock tonight. And he said, yeah, I mean, I didn't get them until after 2 o'clock on Friday. I haven't had a chance to go through them. He said if the board was ready to take any action, he is completely comfortable noting that the comments to begin with were fairly minor, of just making sure conditions added that the applicants comply with the commentary from this Graves menu of 1030 to the satisfaction of the board, which of course usually means they have to make Jeff happy. So it's up to you.
Through the chair, I'm ready to make a motion that we move on approval for this. Is there a list?
There is a list. Let me pull it up and share it. Share.
For some reason I can't find it.
It's because I emailed it to you, Bob. Those weren't done today.
I don't have it.
There's the minimum conditions of approval for this. And again, these hours are I just cut and pasted them. So these construction hours should be 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, Saturday 8 to 12, and no Sundays. So these that's a mistake on number 2 for this one.
Okay,
Okay,
you want me
do we
to read
have a
them?
volunteer, please? Yep, thank you, Bob.
Okay, I make, for general conditions for G-Tech Solar at 19 Osby Road, minimal conditions of approval, approval of all applicable local, state, and federal permitting authorities. Construction on the site will be limited to Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturdays, 7 to 12 noon, and shall exclude Sundays and all local, state, and federal observed holidays. The board reserves the right to review site landscaping within a year of installation for the purpose of adding plants which may be reasonably necessary to complete the intended aesthetics and screening. The board reserves the right to review and adjust lighting and require adjustments within a year of initial illumination if they find it to be a danger or nuisance. The board reserves the right to require mitigation for noise generated by operations on the site if they find it to be a nuisance. Prior to endorsement, all waivers and conditions of approval shall be listed on the plan set. Prior to commencement of construction, the owner applicant operator agrees to provide financial security as approved by the board to cover the costs of removal of the installation in the event the town must remove it and remediate the landscape. Said surety agreement shall stipulate that the board reserves the right to review the amount of security in years 5, 10, and 15 approximately, and require additional funds should variables such as inflation, salvage value, etc., require an increase. The owner applicant, this is number 8, the owner applicant operator shall supply the planning board with a copy of the following: site control documentation of control of the project site sufficient to allow for construction and operation of the solar photovoltaic installations, utility notification evidence that the utility company that operates the electrical grid has been informed of and approves of the planned solar photovoltaic installation, comedy of interconnected customer owner generator agreement shall be provided. Stormwater SWPPP shall be completed and filed with the EPA, and a copy of the NPDES permit shall be provided to the planning board. The applicant engineer shall submit 4 complete prints of the endorsed site development plan, 1 50% reduced print, and 1 electronic copy of the Sutton Planning Office. Number 10, prior to commencement of construction, a pre-construction meeting shall be held. Number 11,
That's a typo. Just keep reading. Held
All right.
with
with the planning director and other town staff as appropriate of the town's consulting engineer, the applicant and his representative, the applicant's engineer, and the applicant's construction supervisor for this site. Minutes shall be drafted by the town's consulting engineer and provided to all parties in attendance within 48 hours of approval to construction start to ensure all parts are in agreement. Next, prior to commencement of construction, the applicant will provide a minimum of 1 week's notice and review stake limits of clearing with the planning board representative. Prior to startup of the facility, any building security system shall be installed and functioning as required by the police and fire chiefs. The applicant shall submit to the planning board an as-built plan and written certification from the project engineers that the entire site has been constructed substantially in accordance with the site plan. The applicant shall also submit to the Board of Assessors. The as-built plan was supplemented with any additional information required by this board. Site maintenance. The applicant shall ensure proper maintenance of plantings on the site. And I can't see it here. Let's see, how do I get it? There you go. Including immediate replacement of the dead and diseased plantings unless it is winter or summer, in which case immediately in the following planting season. Inspection and maintenance of site drainage system and structures shall be performed in accordance with the recommended schedule, but in no case less than once per year.
And then you just want to add that last condition that the applicant will comply with the recommendation of the Graves Engineering memo dated 10/30 to the satisfaction of the board.
Add that.
Do you want to add anything about the fire department, that the applicant agrees to adjust the location of the pads
If it's necessary,
if the fire department feels it's necessary?
add that. Thank you.
Okay. So that was a motion, Bob, a motion to approve with those conditions?
Isn't that thing with the fire department covered in number 1?
Yeah, it is in effect. Yes.
All right, so we're clear, the applicant understands what we're saying.
Yes, 100%.
Thank you, Bob, for reading through that. Appreciate it.
Good job.
Mouthful.
So that was a motion by Bob with conditions. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. We now got to bring it to a vote. Either a yay or a nay. Wally Baker.
Aye.
Okay, thanks. Scott,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
and Mike Gagan votes aye. It's 5-0-0 passed.
So I have a question for the applicant, just out of curiosity. So originally, we started looking at these things and some of the discussion was about these larger programs like this. There was a limitation to how many of these could be set up because of the power transmission setup that exists in the area. So is that a concern? Is that not a concern because there's not enough solar panel setups yet? Or you know what I'm talking about? And can
Yeah,
comment?
so it's all based on the interconnection and where things are with this. This was submitted a while back for interconnection, and that's actually one of the reasons why we took a little bit of time actually coming back to you here on that. I believe it's still under Eversource review, and I don't know if Jeff Pipeling's on, if he could discuss it a little bit further, but I want to believe that the area study may have been completed here.
So you wouldn't build them and have nowhere to put the power, I assume.
Correct. If we, and I think that goes to part of it of having that signed interconnection agreement as part of the application to ensure that we have that. So we're not just building something and sitting there waiting on that. So, but yeah, this area was under an area study at one point in time with Eversource.
Okay.
Thank you, Brad. Could we have a motion to close this hearing?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Bob. Anyone second it?
Second.
Okay, thanks, Scott. We'll go through a roll call. Wally,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Phil,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
and Mike Gagan, aye. Motion to close hearing 5-0-0. Thank you, Brad, for your time and appreciate good luck with things. Thank you.
Not a problem. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Bye.
So Jen, I have a question related to this thing, because now we have 3 large setups in the town of Sutton.
Yep.
Is there ever the ability to limit this? Because we're using what I would consider land that could be better utilized for other, commercial operations. Is there some point in time that I know it's been decided by the state that they can go anywhere they want. Is there a
Right.
way
So
to
what you
say
can,
no at some point?
you can't really say no. You always have to allow large ground mounted somewhere, but you can limit the number of districts you allow it in, or you can do a solar photovoltaic overlay and just handpick a few places where you would be fine with it, the last few installations going. So you do have some options. Right now, I believe you allow it in, let me look. Right now, you allow large ground mounted in the business highway district, the industrial district, and the office light industrial district. So you can pull it out of 2 of those 3 districts if you want.
Yeah.
And so that's something I think we were talking about, we might want to address at the Springtown meeting. So that's an initial step, and you could go in that whole different direction of just eliminating it from anywhere but an overlay district. And then you can pick parcels or an area that you might feel is appropriate, even outside of the business districts. And you just have to, it has to be a permitted use somewhere.
And so how does Sutton rank in solar panel square footage per capita? I mean, are we?
I
like,
don't know.
we have
I
lots
can
of
ask
them
if
or
that's
very few
tracked.
of them? We didn't get the marijuana, but we got the solar panels instead, right?
Yeah, probably the marijuana would have been a better boon to the tax revenue.
Very possibly true. You know, it'll be interesting to see if we ever have to expend the money in these bonds we're collecting to clear these things and get rid of the hazardous waste that exists in them. That's
Yeah.
another side of this coin.
Well, we have been very closely tracking those bonds and making sure the payments come in. I actually just got a bond payment last week on the installation southbound on 146.
Okay.
So.
Okay, we're gonna all set, Jen, with that? Okay, so we're gonna move on to the next additional action item, and it's the release of the Prime Meadows bond at 93 Gilmore Drive. There currently is a bond. It is number 41386902, recorded at the Worcester Registry of Deeds, book 60142, page 91, in a current amount of $58,500. There were 3 obligations tied to that bond. Completion, replacement of dead or missing landscaping as shown on the approved site plans, as well as the addition of 5 4 to 6 foot high evergreen plantings to the east of transformers located north of the building. Number 2, installation of hoods in catch basin for the Graves Engineering Review Letter dated 6/8/20. Number 3, revisions to the as-built plans for the Graves Engineering Review Letter dated 6/8/20. I do believe, and Jen, you can answer, that these obligations have been met.
Yes, I confirmed with Graves again today that they're all set with the catch basin hoods that are in and inspected, and the as-built plans are compliant. So, and I did the planting inspections myself. Everything's good.
Great.
Thank you.
Just as an aside, I did go on a tour of the inside of the building with the selectmen on Saturday morning. And we will be setting up one for you guys probably in the spring when they finish the outfitting of the warehouse. It's almost done. And you'll be very happy and impressed with the facility.
No, good.
Good.
Thank you. Thank you, Jen. So if there's any other comments from the board, if not, we're gonna entertain a motion to release the bond.
Make a motion to release the bond that's outstanding for Prime Metals.
Okay.
Second, Bob Largis.
Thank you, Bob. We're gonna have a vote. Kyle, I believe you'll be in on this vote. Wally,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Kyle,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
and me, Mike Gagan, aye. The motion passes 5-0-0. And can we move on to the next item? We don't need to close that piece, do we?
Nope.
Okay, thank you. The next item is the minutes from 11/2/20. We're hoping everyone had a chance to read them. Are there any comments, corrections on the meeting that anybody see?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes for November 2nd, 2020.
Second.
Okay, we'll go to a roll call vote again. Wally,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Kyle,
I abstain.
you abstain, okay. Bob,
Aye.
and I am aye, so the vote is 4-0-1. Pass that, thank you. Moving on to the next item. The filing, we want to acknowledge pine sand earth removal permit. We have received, and there will be renewal at the next board meeting on November 30th. Anything else on the agenda? Is that
Nope,
Pretty
I
much.
did already do the site visit, so I'll be queuing up some fun photographs for you. They've done an awful lot of additional removal this year, and I'll provide you all the pictures to show how much has been going on out there. So this is they're not in a public hearing year, but they are in a public meeting renewal year, a 1-year renewal year. So
Thank you, Jen. The last bit is correspondence, and it's regarding Singletary Arms, and a second letter was sent by Wally. I don't know, Jen, do we have to acknowledge that, or do we show the letter, or we just?
no, the letter was drafted based on the conversation at the last meeting. Just touching base back with Millbury again. I did go out there and found that the traffic counters were actually prior to the driveway for Stratford Village. I have no idea why you would ever put counters at that location, because basically what they're going to be picking up is the traffic coming and going from Stratford Village in large part. You're not going to be able to divide out what traffic is actually then continuing on to Sutton or coming and going over the Sutton roadways. So it's a very strange positioning of that counter. I talked to the Millbury planner briefly, and she said her board was just a little bit uncomfortable because the wording of their bylaw says they have the right to request traffic impacts adjacent to the site, and it kind of narrows it to their roadways. I thought the wording was a little more broad than that, but I still got the sense from the board at the last meeting that the board was not really happy with the way things were left, and they wanted to, ask Millbury again to consider doing some monitoring closer to the town line, if not at the town line, and point out that we're certain that Millbury would not be all that happy if the Sutton Planning Board ignored the impact of development within the town of Sutton that had impacts on Millbury, and not that we would do that, but so they can kind of put themselves in our shoes and maybe reconsider asking the developer to expand that study out a little bit. So that letter was based on my observations in the field and the board's discussion at the last meeting. That's where that letter came from.
I thought you did some good wordsmithing in that letter. It was very appropriate. Get the point across.
Good
Thank
job, Wally. Good job, Wally.
Yeah, thanks, Jen.
All right. Anything else the board has to bring up?
A motion to adjourn?
Second.
Okay, thank you. We'll take a vote on that. Wally,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Kyle,
Aye.
Bob,
Yes.
and Mike Gagan, aye. 5-0-0 to close the board meeting tonight. Thank you, everybody.
Well
Nice
done.
job.
Thank
Good
you,
job.
Mike.
Good night,
job.
everybody.
All right.
All right,
you.
hope you're feeling better.